A very good evening and a warm welcome to our second edition of UBC News Tonight on this fourth day of November 2022. Welcome. Before we get into tonight's newscast, let's first take a look at the top stories of the night. In our top stories tonight, President Museveni hosts Indian community to Diwali. Prime Minister Robina Nabanja orders for fresh elections for Wandegeya market management. Over 20 schools for the blind receive assistive devices to facilitate inclusive learning. And in sports, Ugandans to face Burundians in Uganda Boxing Champions League this weekend. Good evening once again and welcome to the second edition of UBC News Tonight. I'm Lorraine Masika Kazimoto. Now we start off this newscast. President Museveni has saluted the Indian community in Uganda for their big contribution to the social economic development of the country through wealth creation. The president was speaking at the Diwali dinner he hosted for the Indian community in Uganda at State House, Entebbe.
Diwali is an Indian festival that symbolizes the spiritual victory of light over darkness among Indian community faiths in India: Hindus, Sikhs, Jains, Muslims, and some Buddhists. President Museveni also hailed the relationship that has existed starting with the first 4 Indians that settled in parts of Ankole, describing the relationship as symbiotic. Mr. Museveni pointed out that the wealth creators have no contradiction since they complement each other, referring to the Indian expulsion from Uganda being done by wealth consumers who had no clue on the production process.
So people like Idi Amin are people who are not part of the production process. They were wealth consumers, not being wealth creators. That's why they could see a problem, because Indians were helping us. We are making our work easy. For us, we were farmers, cows, crops, and these fellows were making our work easy. So how could we have a contradiction with them? So it should be very clear that parasites are really the source of all this confusion.
Responding to the rumor on Ebola lockdown, President Museveni assured the Indian community that Ebola will be contained and allayed any fears of a lockdown.
Now, regarding the what Sidir was talking about, there will be no lockdown for Ebola. This we analyzed for you very clearly from the beginning. This Ebola disease is not really very serious. It's not like Corona. Corona was a very serious disease because Corona was infecting through the air, through breathing. Very dangerous.
The Indian High Commissioner to Uganda, His Excellency Ajay Kumar, commended the excellent bilateral relations that Uganda and India continue to enjoy over the years.
We have expanded and deepened our relations in many areas recently. National Forensic University of India and UPDF signed another MOU very recently to establish a campus of the prestigious Indian University in Uganda. This will be the first ever foreign campus of National Forensics University, Your Excellency.
The Chairman, Indian Association in Uganda, Mr. J.N. Mohan Rao, saluted the President for his support to the Indian community.
We commend you for the well-thought out of well-implemented reopening of all sectors of the economy after the pandemic, and our business are back to operating full capacity. However, small business people are not able to recover well due to the heavy borrowings, and we therefore request you for easy financial regulations.
Businessman Sudil Rupareria also extended his sincere appreciation to President Museveni for his generosity to celebrate with Indians on their Diwali day. He thanked the President for embracing different cultures and for creating a conducive environment for business and peace in the country.
The First Lady, Janet Kataha Museveni, has expressed the need for people to take up opportunities to deliver positive Christian alternatives to secular world influences that derail the next generation. While officiating at the fundraising event of Rite TV at Kololo Ceremonial Grounds, Mrs. Museveni said people need to invest in this initiative that is here to evangelize for them.
Uganda has over 300 radios and over 50 television stations, including Rite TV, a broadcasting platform that makes 1 year today. This online television was established by Kampala Revival Fellowship Church in 2021 after the COVID-19 first lockdown brought about a spiritual challenge of preaching the gospel because churches had been closed to the public. The objective of the Revival, Inspiration, Transformation, Education and Entertainment TV is to preach the gospel of truth and counteract the false gospel with a vision of providing Christ-centered teaching. Presiding over this event was the First Lady, Janet Kataha Museveni, who said spreading the gospel door to door or from one individual to another is not an easy task.
Evangelize really is what we need as a nation. And while this may sound funny today because of the competing priorities in our lives, many of us gathered here may not have the opportunity or even privilege of time to evangelize as we would want to particular target audiences from such a wide spectrum of society. So I urge you to give towards this cause so that Rite TV can do it on your behalf. Indeed, Rite TV provides a door of opportunity for us all to take part in evangelizing community.
Rite TV is a youth and young adults consumer media, given the fact that 70% of Uganda's population are young people and influenced by behavior of the secular world.
Today, Rite Television serves this population in Uganda, reaching people within Uganda and across national borders through evangelism, discipleship, leadership, and skills development, God's word in propagating by the medium of digital TV as Rite's initial segment. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is therefore imperative that we all take this opportunity to deliver positive Christian alternative to secular world influences that plague our next generation.
The Minister for ICT and National Guidance, Dr. Chris Baryomosi, said his ministry is to collaborate with this Rite TV through their mandate of national guidance.
Also the false gospel that is coming in. You hear gospel based on prosperity and riches. And I think police acted where the pastor was paying the believers. All sorts of things are happening. And I think Reverend Aaron, we have to work together to see that Christianity remains Christianity. Values remain values. And we do not accept some of those occurrences which are happening.
This faith-based media platform has filled the gap that has been created by absence of religious-based instruction, like building moral infrastructure of the country.
The question therefore is, how do we package content that is appealing to all age groups using faith-based media? Because otherwise they will say that the content is boring. Programming rich content that includes social interaction through drama, for example, edutainment via soaps that reinforce positive values, documentaries, spiritual and developmental messages, in my view, will have a more transformational impact on the young people's lives.
Rite TV needs over 400 million shillings to start a state-of-the-art broadcasting house.
Gospel is free and everybody knows that, because Christ paid the whole price on the cross. but please bear with us because spreading it is costly. It requires resources and financial support for setting up a state-of-the-art studio.
Personally brought a humble contribution of 30 million to you.
I'm Navka Farida and Abdunasir Wama in Kampala.
Ugandan government has refuted allegations by a section of Congolese citizens that Kampala is aiding the current insecurity being witnessed in their territories, orchestrated by the notorious M23 rebels. In an interview with UBC, State Minister for Foreign Affairs Henry Okello Oryem refuted these allegations as baseless.
We know very well that this is not the first time M23 has been around. Previously, M23 came to Uganda, and we hosted them somewhere in western Uganda until when the right time we gave them back to the government of Kinshasa. M23 is not manufactured, created, or any part of the UPDF.
Early this week, a section of Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC residents, especially those in the Goma region, staged an anti-Uganda and Rwanda protest on allegations that the two East African Community member states are partly facilitating the current spate of insecurity in their territories. However, this has been widely refuted by the Ugandan government.
These people who claim that or allege that the government of Uganda is supporting rebel groups, especially M23, are talking absolutely rubbish. I've said before that this is rubbish. It's unjustified what they're saying.
According to Uganda's Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Henry Okello Oryem, there is no substantive evidence to back up what he terms as malicious allegations.
If they want to accuse the government of Uganda of supporting the M23, then they should give it evidence, empirical evidence, concrete evidence, irrefutable evidence that we're doing that. Short of which, I repeat, it is absolutely rubbish.
Oryem reiterates Uganda's commitment to the East African protocols, which among others have prioritized peace in the region.
It is not in the interest of the government of Uganda to support any M23 or support any negative forces in the Eastern DRC. To the contrary, it's to our benefit, the benefit of this country, that we should stand side by side with the Kinshasa government under President Tshisekedi and get rid of the negative forces who are in Eastern DRC, including M23, ADF, and NALO. Absolutely get rid of them and annihilate them completely, so that there is peace and security in Eastern DRC, which guarantees peace and security in Western Uganda.
The minister also clarifies about the misinforming articles indicating that DRC has halted the UPDF operations against Allied Democratic Forces, ADF, and road construction from its boundaries.
The Kinshasa government have not confiscated any of those machines. There was an attempt by negative forces and rebels to burn those machineries because they fear that it will open up access to the forest and the army would use it to get them. But it remains a rumor. The reason why the roads are not the work is not continuing is because there's some issues that are not being addressed, issue of compensation of landowners, issue of taxation, and others. So it's not because of this war. This war will not stop the construction of the road. The UPDF soldiers enough to protect and look after that equipment, and we're not worried about any negative force trying to spoil what is good.
The renewed fighting between M23 rebels and the Kinshasa-based government forces has left many dead and hundreds displaced, with most of them seeking for shelter in the neighboring Uganda.
Of the East African community countries, the President of Burundi, to immediately call a summit of head of states of the region and look at what is happening, re-examine what is happening with the technical people, and decide exactly how to address it and how to engage it. So if the chairman calls a meeting, a summit, which we hope we can call early next week, I think that is the beginning of getting a solution to this matter.
Robert Onyango, UBC News.
President Yoweri Museveni has pledged support to the Mountains of the Moon Public University through education for socio-economic development of the country. The president urged graduates to embrace commercial agriculture through government programs of poverty alleviation. His message was delivered by the Vice President Jessica Lupo during the graduation ceremony of Mountains of the Moon University in Fort Portal.
By 10 a.m., the procession had started and the graduates marched smartly amidst the cold weather. Before the Vice-Chancellor constituted the Assembly, the chairperson, Mountains of the Moon University Council, retired Colonel Tom Butime, handed over instruments of power to Engineer Ben Manyindo.
Instrument of power to the new chairperson of council.
Engineer Manyindo becomes the new chairperson of the University Council.
I constitute this assembly into the 14th congregation of the Mountains of the Moon University.
Speaker after speaker, they all commended government for supporting and considering Rwenzori region by giving it a public university.
And we thank the government of Uganda for having allocated 200 acres of land at Kiambogo by the Uganda Land Commission for purposes of research, teaching, and demonstration of best practices to the farmers, especially those who have been mobilized in the Rwenzori region.
Dr. Joyce Muriko Kaduchi, who represented the Minister for Education and Sports, Janet Kataha Museveni, guided the university to serve in harmony and adopt a transparent and ethical means of operation.
Do what is necessary to ensure harmony at the university, which will be demonstrated by evidence of continuous learning activities. It will be demonstrated by evidence that there are no strikes at this university. It will be demonstrated by excellency in all operations.
Government pledged its support to the university in areas of training towards socio-economic transformation and also pledged more support towards infrastructure development.
Government will continue supporting and working closely with Mountains of the Moon University for the socio-economic transformation of our country by developing the badly needed human resources and skills in the world of work.
The president was represented by Vice President Jessica Lupo. A total of 749 students graduated in different disciplines and were awarded diplomas, degrees, and masters.
And thanks for your coming to Mountains of the Moon.
Prime Minister Robina Nabanja, State Minister for Local Government Victoria Businje-Rusoke, and Kampala capital city officials have paid a courtesy visit to Wandegeya market to ascertain allegations of taking over market stalls by stable persons. Now, this has prompted the Prime Minister to select an interim committee to run the market for the time being. We have the details.
Wandegeya market vendors have been paying rent to alleged owners of market stalls for years. This has been disclosed to the Prime Minister, Robina Nabanja, by the market vendors on her impromptu visit to the market.
President webale taata kubyo tukoledde kubozo tubelawo ngabo obutale ne obutandise okukola bwotyo tuli basanyufu nnyo amanya agengeze mayanja Fredi
abasajja abali wana abagagga tusaba tata bakwatibwe tubabaja sente zaffe tubidde emyaka 7.
Following a directive by the President for markets to be owned by low-income earners, the Prime Minister ordered for cancellation of ownership of more than one stall to an individual.
Individuals who were allowed to own stalls and their private equipment and made alterations in this market and started charging local traders exorbitant charges in connivance with the KCCO officials. Abo babadde ogamba nti balina amaanyi
Following a directive by the President for markets to be owned by low-income earners, the Prime Minister ordered for cancellation of ownership of more than one stall to an individual.
Evidence of payments. Kakati President yalagidde bwati the use of landlords in government markets, not only here, should stop henceforth. Nti bw'obanga omanyi olibadde landlord wano obuyinza bwo bukomye leero. Kakati Attorney General kyekimulese bwe muba muyagala okulopa mugende mu kooti.
Premier Nabanja reminded the vendors that the market is government-owned and private individuals that charge the vendors in connivancy with KCCA officials are to be investigated.
The use of landlords in government markets, not only here, should stop henceforth. Nti bw'obanga omanyi olibadde landlord wano obuyinza bwo bukomye leero.
State Minister for Local Government Victoria Rusoke said the interim management committee did not adhere to the guidelines issued by the ministry regarding the management of the market.
We are here to settle down the commotion which is emanating. People wanted to lock the market. It's against the law. The market is here to serve them, so we are going to make sure there is peace, there is harmony, and there is transparency.
Mrs. Rusoke highlighted some administrative lapses by Kampala Capital City Authority officials failing to sign tenancy agreements with all the vendors.
We have received complaints, and these complaints are grave. We don't know why we haven't been informed before that the allocation of stalls was tampered with, whereas the policy stipulates that the old vendors who were in the old market before it was demolished would be given first priority. We are learning that there was mismatch and impartiality and corruption in the allocation of stalls. We've been informed, we are yet to get records, that there are cases where one person owns 6 stalls.
This follows factions created by vendors, which include that of My Small, Zen and Kayanja, and another one by Jita. All alleging to have been given powers by Kampala Capital City Authority. The vendors are now hopeful that the government will look into their issues and opted for the replanning of the market to attract customers. The vendors say Kampala Capital City Authority must be fair in conducting the new leadership and a non-partisan committee to run the market in the time being. The memorandum of understanding signed by Kampala Capital City Authority and the Minister of Local Government did not introduce the landlords as alleged, and documentary evidence of the facts is available. Sudat Kaye, UBC News.
Makerere University has unveiled the Yusuf Lule Central Teaching Facility, formerly known as CTF-1, that was renamed after Yusuf Lule Chironde, who was the first Ugandan principal of Makerere University. This is a gesture to celebrate Lule for his tremendous contribution to the development of the university, described by many as a great educationist.
As the university's motto states, to build for the future, Yusuf Lule Chironde is one of the many who are praised for having built for the future of Makerere University.
We build for the future, the great Makerere.
It is in recognition of his contribution that Makerere University has unveiled the Yusuf Lule Central Teaching Facility as an icon of remembrance. Being the first Ugandan principal of Makerere, Lule is one of the many that laid a strong foundation to the educational development of the oldest university in the country.
People would wonder whether the black man would be able to manage what the white man had been doing. Lule, as a successor to Sadi Bansen, exceeded expectations.
Our gathering here today is testimony that we appreciate His Excellency Yusuf Lule's contribution to legacy and stature of Makerere University as an institution that is desirous of leveraging 100 years of excellence in building a transformed society.
To his family, he was a loving father who embraced socialization, hence their vow to live to his legacy.
He was quite adventurous, and he liked us to be that adventurous himself, so he encouraged us to go out there and learn stuff.
Be persistent and to be dedicated to what you do, and this is something that I've carried forward in my life in pursuing medicine. He was someone who was so dedicated and persistent in his own family.
UBC News.
Over 20 schools have received assistive devices dubbed Orbit Readers to facilitate inclusive learning for students with visual impairment. The Department of Visual Impairment Studies at Kyambogo University is one of the recipients of the assistive gadgets, said to have the latest technology. The head of department at Kyambogo University, Odette Tumwesije, recounts the days of outdated technology where examining visually impaired students was an uphill task. We have the details.
Over the years, national efforts to ensure inclusive learning for visually impaired students have been mushrooming thanks to technological advancement. However, lack of exposure and financial constraints remain major hindrances for learners with visual impairment to access such assistive devices.
We have been at a level when we have been using manual Perkins braillers. Our students have been using slate at this era of technology.
Odette Tumwesije, the head of Department for Visual Impairment Studies at Kyambogo University, attests to the fact that sometimes visually impaired learners suffer unjustified psychological torture as the examinations are marked last.
Not because lecturers don't like them, but because it's only the faculty of special needs that has ability to transcribe Braille. And even the faculty of special needs, we are really also occupied like any other lecturers. So we first mark, and after marking, it's when we get time to transcribe the Braille material. And you find that their results come late, and it is so frustrating and disappointing.
It is against this backdrop that a group of non-government organizations working with inclusive learning, led by Sense International, have dished out assistive devices worth millions of shillings.
Today we have released 97 Orbit Readers to have our target of 20 schools before the end of 2022, and that one have been realized. The Orbit Reader 20 is a device that supports learners to read their book, to take their notes, and it also breaks the barriers of communication whereby a deaf student can be able to communicate comfortably with a blind student without necessarily having a sign language interpreter or paperwork.
For purpose of optimizing their use, a group of teachers from benefiting institutions have had their skills honed.
We believe that learners are going to enjoy the learning this time because the gadget is so interactive and they're able to access the books using the Orbit Readers, unlike the previous mechanical braillers they have been using in schools.
Senior educationist in the Department of Special Needs and Inclusive Education at the Ministry of Education and Sports, Canton Jane minced no words, urging CSOs to continue supplementing government efforts.
We have been having challenges of teachers, not having enough teachers trained in special needs. But with the partnership with these donors, these development partners, we have been able to develop a package, which package is being used to train the teachers who are coming out to have a dose of special needs so that they can support all the learners, because every school has a learner with special needs.
William Gichia from Kilimanjaro Blind Trust, one of the contributing partners, underscores the need for key sector players to heighten collaboration for desired results. It is on record that inaccessible services in the education sector is the leading cause for dropout of learners living with different disabilities. Mary Namkose, UBC News.
So, I'm here to announce that the MTN Kampala Marathon is back. And this year, we are running for babies. To be clear, I am not talking about a baby. No. And neither am I talking about to be baby. I am talking about these small dollars.
Run for babies in the MTN Kampala Marathon on Sunday, 20th November 2022. Dial *165 *77# or use the Momo app to register.
My name is Charles Peter Maiga, the Katikiro of Buganda. It's very important to groom and nurture our children into responsible citizens. But that doesn't mean that we've got to beat them up, got to hurt them. I think we need to groom our children into people who have self-worth. That will enable us to have citizens who will be responsible and who will also look at violence with disdain.
Because a violence-free childhood is everyone's right. Raising voices.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial *149 *10# to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial *149 *10*5#. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial *149 *10# to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Welcome to Friends Stadium. Everybody's ready. Wait a second, not everybody. Come on, dude, it's the FIFA World Cup. You're going to lose your seat, the ritual seat, the lucky one. Losing more than a seat, your team is going to lose. Where are you, dude? The match is about to start. Your friends won't hold out much longer. Excuse me. Finally, everything is in the right place. Hey, other hand. And you, do you have everything you need to believe?
The Ministry of Health informs the public that due to the ongoing threat of polio outbreaks in Uganda, it will conduct the second round of the National House-to-House Polio Immunization Campaign from Friday 4th November to Thursday 10th November 2022 in all the districts of Uganda except those currently handling Ebola outbreaks.
During this second round of the National House-to-House Polio Immunization Campaign, health workers will visit homes, schools, places of worship, markets, daycare centers, shops and playgrounds to immunize all children aged 5 years and below irrespective of their previous vaccination status. This house-to-house polio immunization campaign does not replace routine immunization.
Parents and guardians, please remember to have all your children aged 5 years and below immunized against polio during this second round of the National House-to-House Polio Immunization Campaign from Friday 4th November to Thursday 10th November 2022. The polio vaccine is safe, effective, and free.
This message is by the Ministry of Health with support from UNICEF, WHO, and partners.
Welcome back from that break. Now in more news this evening, the Minister of State for Economic Monitoring, Beatrice Akello, has unveiled plans to start inspection of all government programs across the country. Ms. Akello was addressing the media at the ministry's offices in Kampala.
Government has on several occasions started initiatives aimed at transforming people's lives and improving their living standards. The initiatives include a Youth Livelihood Fund, a Myoga, Operation Wealth Creation, and the recently launched Parish Development Model. However, some officials entrusted to manage these programs end up embezzling and mismanaging the funds meant to benefit Ugandans. It's against this backdrop that the Department of Economic Monitoring and Evaluation, responsible for inspection and evaluation of key government projects and programs, was formed.
We believe that if projects under the above programs are effectively implemented, we would witness a rapid
socio-economic transformation of our society.
At a press briefing held in Kampala, State Minister for Economic Monitoring Beatrice Akello unveiled new plans on how her office is going to monitor works for all government programs across the country.
We are starting on the 8th of November until 26th of November. So the on-spot monitoring visits will be held in Greater Masaka, in Acholi sub-region, and in Lango sub-region. We shall be in Kalangala district local government. We shall be in Kalungu district local government. We shall be in Chotera.
Kello, however, warned the government officials against going into hiding and exempting themselves from being assessed.
Our monitoring is intelligent-led. We have officers on the ground like RDCs. They write reports every month. Basing on those reports, we get issues per sub-regions to handle those challenges. Like after coming back from the field, a meeting chaired by the Minister for Presidency. If they run away, we get their bosses here at Kampala to punish them administratively.
With some parish development model money being disbursed to different parishes, Minister Akello vowed to deal with those who will mismanage the funds.
During my country-wide visit, I would like to ascertain if these funds were put into good use and the impact of this initiative to the communities. Always, most of them.
It was also noted that investigations into alleged mismanagement of government funds by some government officials, kick-started by her predecessor Peter Gwang, are still ongoing.
I would also like to sound a warning to civil servants at all levels of government to perform their duties diligently.
Ivan Juku for UBC News.
Exercising of judicial discretion in counterfeit cases has highly been recommended by the Anti-Counterfeit Network to the justice system so that punishments given by culprits commensurate to the increasing threat of counterfeit. This was disclosed during an anti-counterfeit awareness training for the magistrates and prosecutors.
The anti-counterfeit awareness training conducted by the Anti-Counterfeit Network is to increase the capacity of judiciary and the prosecution to leverage on law enforcement and justice services to combat counterfeit.
Is purposed to deepen their understanding about the problem of counterfeiting. Most importantly, we have viewed the respective officers we've trained as consumers. And because they are consumers, we think that they also have a role. One, to protect themselves and to protect the community.
The Directorate of Public Prosecutions is to now closely look into the processes of the counterfeit crimes by giving in effective sentences and prosecution to make this vice unattractive.
So it is not something we should take lightly, where a crime is, where infringement is found.
Attractive.
So it is not something we should take lightly, where a crime is, where infringement is found.
Apologies for that. Uganda-DRC Limited, in conjunction with National Forestry Authority, has pledged over R1 billion package towards the campaign of preserving the environment. The initiative, targeting restoration of over 40 hectares of forest cover across the country, was launched in Kayunga district. Robert Onyango with more.
Every year we lose about 200,000 hectares across the country.
Uganda's forest cover continues to disappear, hence calling for urgent attention.
The nation is concerned because a lot of forest cover has been depleted.
But what has discovered across all the world is that for you to be able to restore the forest across the country, you have to involve everyone.
To supplement the restoration efforts, Uganda-DRC Limited has joined the cause. The team, led by its managing director, was in Kayunga district on 2nd November 2022 to initiate a tree planting drive and also submit a partnership with National Forest Authority.
We believe that with the growing population in Uganda, obviously, we need to actually be able to invest heavily in the food security, because the way the population is growing, the population growth rate in Uganda, the way it's actually very high, can really be able to threaten the element of the food security.
At Uganda-DRC, we really believe that the environmental protection is the only way we can protect our future. We'll therefore continue to support such partnerships and promote solutions that will safeguard the environment for future generations.
This was at the Central Forest Reserve in Bale Sub-County, Kayunga District.
Most people will actually say, if we tell them this is a Central Forest Reserve, they will say, but we don't see trees there, simply because these have been cut down. So we want to applaud the effort of UBL coming in to partner with us to enable restoration of forests, of trees in this area.
According to Uganda-DRC Limited, this is part of its corporate social responsibility.
In traveling all over the country, we discovered that a lot of forests had been depleted. Areas in which were supposed to be forest had no forests. And so we decided to implement this as part of our corporate social responsibility, to come to areas like these, plant trees and help those trees to grow, and to partner with National Forest Authority.
Starting this year, 2022, UBL is targeting to restore a total of 40 hectares across the country, targeting the forest reserves of Kayunga, Sironko, Kasese and Arua.
Because you've seen the floods that we've had in Mobuku. River Mobuku has caused chaos year after year. Almost every year we're sure that there will be a flood, people will lose houses, Kilembe Hospital will come down, we'll build it again, etc., etc. So this is very important.
This initiative is geared towards supplementing government's effort for preservation and activation of the green environment. Currently, there is a worldwide call to all nations to join hands in fighting global warming, which has been blamed on human activities that are suppressing nature. Robert Onyang.
Water scarcity in Moroto district has partly been blamed for the increase in the number of school dropouts. Mainly the girl child learners have to trek for over 2 kilometers through the mountains to look for clean water before reporting for classes.
This is Kakingolo Primary School located within Mount Moroto region. Here learners' attendance is low as a result of dropping out, absenteeism and late coming.
They fetch in the morning after coming from home. They stay very far down there. Up there, they reach at around 9. They come again and proceed to pick some water for cooking. Water is a challenge.
Somehow related to the environment, you know, the primary school is in between the mountains, so access by children to the primary school is hindered, especially during the rainy season. And then the other one,
girls' enrollment in upper primary is also low.
Children or girls are married off at an early age. So parents are viewing education like they are not seeing any benefit from education, but they are only looking at the girl child being a source of wealth in terms of the bride price when.
Water scarcity is also a major challenge at Kakingolo Health Center 3.
You even use your own money, yes, to pay somebody to go and get water from down there to bring up to the facility. Then you use it for cleaning the instruments, cleaning the mother, making her comfortable.
Residents trek more than 2 kilometers in the mountainous area to get water. Residents narrate the hardship of accessing safe water in the area.
It's difficult to rise up. You climb with the 20 liters jerrycan from that escarpment there down. Then you climb up here. It is too heavy and you cannot contain it.
Because we are being landlocked by the mountains. As you see, getting water. We are fetching water from the river. Just rivers are even seasonal. People are using that water from the river.
The Ministry of Water and Environment, together with Moroto District local government, funded the construction of Kakingolo piped water supply and sanitation system to benefit the parishes of Kakingolo and Masupo.
Water supply system will serve communities in 2 parishes comprising of 11 villages. Water would move for about 22 kilometers for our communities
and even for our institutions like health facilities and the schools that have been faced with a lot of water challenges.
The site handover was officiated by Moroto District RDC Judge William Wopua, attended by Moroto District leadership, technocrats from Ministry of Water and Environment, among others at River Kakingolo.
We made a pledge for this water. So if this water is put in place, it will serve a very big community. And it may be the only gravity water scheme in the whole of this region, because there are very few rivers that are permanent like this.
Moroto District Chairperson David Koryang urged contractors to protect the environment.
This vegetation should not be tampered to keep the beauty of this water.
Kakingolo piped water supply and sanitation system is a 5 billion shillings project, and the works are to take a year under C&G at J's Group Limited as the contractor.
Site turnover, as I said earlier.
UBC News Tonight. Now, the reappearance of the Transitional Justice Policy for the victims of the LRA war in northern Uganda has triggered a smile on the faces of ex-LRA fighters. The bill is brought back to the victims for consultation before it is tabled in the Parliament of Uganda for the first reading. Transitional Justice Policy, which was introduced on the floor of Parliament in 2019 by the former Gulu Municipality MP Leandro Komakech, is still at its zero reading. We have a detailed story.
From inception, the Transitional Justice Policy is accepted to address the issue of reparation, compensation to war victims in Uganda since independence. According to Odong Bosco, an ex-LRA fighter, about 20% of the ex-LRA combatants did not get amnesty upon their return from captivity.
Those one who are supposed to get the amnesty, they have the opportunity because they have the stance on where to begin and where to end the process. So there is a hope that those one who have not yet got the amnesty card or certificate, they have that chance when this one has been from the bill to the act.
Inside this draft policy, their traditional leaders, through the traditional justice system, have been mandated to trace, reunite, reintegrate, and grant the right of inheritance to all children born as a result of sexual violence during armed conflict.
We'll bring back their hope and make them have the rights to demand, have the rights to, to repair what they have lost before, and make them inherit, like in inheritance.
However, Stella Angel Danam, the director of War-Affected Women and Children Networking, is concerned that the policy is not coming out clearly, citing the issue of compensation for war victims, especially those who have been abducted at a tender age and forced to fight, as well as truth-telling and National Reconciliation Day.
In the Transitional Justice Policy, if you see, compensation is not there in the bill. And yet many citizens of this country, especially in northern Uganda, who face a lot of the war victims, would have been taking them when they are young, they're taking 7 years, 8 years, they'll come back home, they're still facing a lot of the challenges in the community and the rejection. In the bill, they should put compensation. It should be there.
The local leaders from Acholi sub-region are calling upon the Parliament of Uganda to speed up the process and enact this law to enable them to clearly identify the affected people to ease the process of compensation.
It is important that that law need to be established and need to be implemented in the mother constitution so that as a local leader will be in position to identify the affected people. It is very hard when it comes to the issue of identifying the affected people. So we feel that law, it is important, need to be approved in Uganda Parliament.
After presenting it in Parliament in 2019, Transitional Justice Policy has been taken over by the government of Uganda. and currently it is being worked on in the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs. The bill is expected to be tabled on the floor of Parliament for its first reading by the end of this year. Stephen Okello, reporting for UBC TV in Gulu.
Thank you, Stephen Okello. Now, the 9th annual Inter-University Constitutional Law Moot Court competition has been held today here in Kampala, and we have details in this report.
With the need to advocate for the girl-child rights as regards obtaining justice, Center for Health, Human Rights and Development, CEHAD, organized the 9th annual Inter-University Constitutional Law debate. The debate was presided over by a panel of 5 justices, including Justice Remi Kasule, Lady Justice Catherine Bamgemerere, Retired Justice Wilson Kwesiga, Justice Margaret Tibulia, and Justice David Wangutusi. Over 12 universities participated in the competition to devise means on how challenges faced by young girls, most especially those in schools, can be addressed in courts of law.
Several adolescent girls and young women got pregnant, what we call teenage pregnancies, during COVID-19. And we kind of drew a picture of a country like Uganda where the laws are not very clear. We lack a national sexuality education policy and a national sexuality education framework. Court setting to try and understand, give them knowledge about the Constitution itself, but also health as a right in the country and education as a right, as well as rights of adolescent girls and young women.
Justice Remi Kasule says students practicing law must teach citizens the Constitution in order to enable them fight for their rights.
The majority of the society cannot afford to pay legal fees. And they look upon you. Go and tell those people, you don't need to open up a clinic. No, a legal clinic. But let us give elementary information, elementary knowledge about the rights of the ordinary people.
The students were also urged to embrace the local laws, norms and values during practice in their legal field.
Let us not jump the queue and always rely on other decisions from other jurisdictions without putting enough stress on our local decisions.
The students that participated in this competition were optimistic, saying that the debate was timely.
It has been an incredible opportunity to learn so much about the issues which affect our country, far as teenage pregnancies and the rights to health are concerned. I was able to learn so much in the way of researching and appreciating how much this is a social challenge that needs to be addressed.
We appreciate this opportunity and we look forward to applying the principles that have been given to us as we further our career in the legal.
After a 2-day heated constitutional debate, participants were awarded with trophies. The 9th annual Inter-University Constitutional Debate was held under the theme, Gender Discrimination, the Plight of Pregnant Girls in School. Rebecca Nantongo, Susan Nabugude, UBC News.
Well, UBC News Tonight takes a very short break, but we'll return after these messages.
So, I'm here to announce that the MTN Kampala Marathon is back. And this year, we are running for babies. To be clear, I am not talking about a baby. No. And neither am I talking about to be baby. I am talking about these small dollars.
Run for babies in the MTN Kampala Marathon on Sunday, 20th November 2022. Dial star 165 star 77 hash or use the Momo app to register.
Welcome to the Living Room Stadium. It's the FIFA World Cup. The match is about to start. Food and drink ready. There's no space left for anyone. Come on, get your lucky chair. Take your usual spot. Even the puppy has one. It's preparation time. You can feel the tension in the air. And do you have everything you need to believe?
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial star 149 star 10 hash to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial star 149 star 10 star 5 hash. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial star 149 star 10 hash to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Welcome back from that break, and we're glad that you're still with us. Now into the business scene. Total Energies Uganda has signed a solar project agreement with the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development for the possible deployment of 120 megawatts of solar photovoltaic technology. The agreement aims at actualizing the collaboration between Total Energies EP Uganda and the ministry towards ensuring energy security and energy transition in the country.
The collaboration follows the establishment of a framework of large-scale renewable energy projects in Uganda through a Memorandum of Understanding signed on the 1st of February 2022.
Fully maybe in hydro. And we have also ambition to be a key player and a key partner on the development of e-mobility. We have more than 200 service stations across the country. And I think we are well placed to help in this development of e-mobility.
Subsequently, the government of Uganda identified and proposed 6 possible sites in Kapeka, Iganga, Tororo, Kumi, Bukedea and Palisa for development by Total Energies.
And what we are going to do in this MOU, the intention is to generate data. Data is extremely important for any development. On solar, a feasibility study which will give us an insight on what is possible and what's not possible. And it will also enable us to actually determine how much solar is harvestable into energy and how reliable can we make it. And this study should also be talking to other projects, as Filippo has said.
According to Total Energies, their commitment in renewable energy is in line with the company's global multi-energy strategy and commitment to develop 1 gigawatt of renewable energy in Uganda by 2030.
And we are here to offer and to partner on multi-energy development. This is the first evidence of it. Of course, it doesn't mean that we don't focus anymore on oil and gas. We have a major project which is ongoing towards the first oil in 2025. But we are not in Uganda only for this project. We are here really to help across the whole panel of solutions to develop energy in Uganda. So for me, it's a great moment, it's a great pleasure, and because we are showcasing this willingness really to be this privileged partner.
The government of Uganda identified solar PV technology as a critical renewable energy technology that will ensure it meets its emission targets under the nationally determined contributions, but also its energy needs in the short term, medium, long term, in line with the national vision of 2040. For UBC News, I'm Jerome Omara.
And now into the sports scene. Arua Hill Soccer Club has signed an agreement with the Turkish-based Ankara Keçiörengucu Football Club in Turkish Football Federation First League to identify talents in Uganda for world-class professional football exposure. Now, according to the Vice President of Ankara FC, the club has been searching for players in West Africa, and this time they choose to collaborate with Arua Hill Soccer Club in Uganda.
They need to get players from Uganda through Arua Hill Sports Club. We are not just going to limit to players from Arua Hill. We're also looking at players from general players, where if they need a player who can be able to also source for that, who can now go and play with them in Turkey, and they can also sell these players to other clubs within Turkey. Secondly, we are also looking at setting up an academy, a joint academy with them here in Arua, so that they can be trained to that international level. We also looked at areas of different technical cooperation, where they can be able to send their technical team from Turkey to come and assist our technical team in Uganda here. And then we are also looking at wherever they are having some excess players in Turkey, they have also accepted they can be able to loan some of those players to come and play with the Arua Hill.
Mr. Joel fikirlerini söylediğinde
he asked a question actually, in case we happen to come to Uganda, is it only your club that will be getting players from or dealing with? Mr. Joel was like, no, because now Uganda is a very big country. So, and we have so many clubs in Uganda, so we shall be able to see all these other clubs and be able to change so many players' lives. Not only Arua Hill Sports Club, but also other clubs we have in Uganda. It was also the same idea he had in mind, that if we can put an academy here and start grooming the players from the beginning until professionalism. Not only to be a professional player, but also morally somebody who can fit in a community and who can live very comfortable anywhere the person goes. And they're so happy that they decided to come to Uganda, because what they have seen here and the people, the hospitality and the environment itself is so totally different. Even Turkey alone is not as green as Uganda is right now. And he hopes that this partnership will go as much as we can push it, and maybe we'll be all successful in the end.
Hem Uganda için hem de
Well, it is just a minute after 11 o'clock. We want to thank you so much for your company this evening. Make sure that you enjoy the weekend, but also make sure that you maintain all standard operating procedures. We are still battling the Ebola virus and also COVID-19. So take good care of yourselves and love yourselves as well. I'm Lorraine Masika Kazimoto. I wish you a good night, but I'll leave you with our weather forecast for tomorrow. Good night.
A very good evening to you once again. I welcome you to today's weather broadcast, brought to you by Uganda National Meteorological Authority in conjunction with UBC. I'm Majezi Africano, your today's presenter. There have been a pickup in wet activities in our country, and several places are experiencing rain activities. The satellite picture shows that the rain belt is over our country, and from the Indian Ocean we are receiving moist conditions that are influencing the sector to receive the kind of weather we are experiencing. So tomorrow, in the same way, we expect light rains to be in scattered places over the southern sector, western and eastern sector, but the northern sector is expected to have a mixture of clouds and sunny conditions. In the afternoon, we expect a pickup, and thundery rains will range from the southern, eastern and western sectors. In the northern sector, we expect light rains, but in the Karamoja region, we expect a mixture of cloudy and sunny conditions. We expect a drop in temperatures, and the highest is expected to be in Karamoja area with 29 degrees Celsius. Kampala is expected to have between 27 and 28 degrees Celsius, and the lowest is expected to be in the mountains of Kigezi, where we expect 23 degrees Celsius. Elsewhere across the globe, we expect Doha to experience sunny conditions Washington together with Beijing are expected to have a mixture of clouds and sunny conditions, but Cape Town is expected to have cloudy conditions and London is expected to have light rains. Thanks for being with us. Stay tuned.
It's Freaky Friday.